questions, and we are, again, very advanced on the vaccine. We think that sometime in the very near future we'll have it. We're, I would say, I think I can say years ahead of schedule what it would be if it were an administration other than this one. It would have been, you would have been years before you ever had anything approved by the FDA. John, please.
Mr. President, this huge aid package to Puerto Rico, why not a year ago? Why not 2 years ago? Why not 3 years ago? Why 46 days to the election?
Because what we're doing is we've been working on it for a long time to get it passed. Very tough to get things past Democrats where they don't want to see this happen. And they probably certainly didn't want to see it happen at this point. But it's a big package. It's a great package. And I think the most exciting part of the package isn't necessarily the billions of dollars. It's going to be what we do with the pharmaceutical industry. We're going to get them back into Puerto Rico. They liked being there, but they changed the tax situation. They ripped it out. So they really ripped apart the island, and we're going to bring it back, John.
It may be simply coincidental, but it does coincide with the big push for Puerto Rican voters that the Biden-Harris campaign.
Yeah, I think that that's, well, they can't do anything. Look, the Biden-Harris campaign, what they did, they hurt, I've gone through it, and whether it was President Obama or Vice President Biden, they were a disaster for Puerto Rico, a disaster. And what we're doing and what we've done, but what we're doing is something that will be fantastic for many years in the future. Bringing back the pharmaceutical industry, manufacturing in Puerto Rico is what they've wanted for years, and we're doing that in addition to the $13 billion. Yes, please.
Mr. President, I think I heard you right saying that you said that you expect to have enough vaccines for every American by April. So as we sit here in mid-September, and there have been questions about the timeline, can you walk us through now and the beginning of April to which every American can have a vaccine?
Sure, and I think we may exceed those numbers even. Scott, do you want to discuss that quickly?
Sure. As has been said many times.
On the podium, please.
Okay. We have all the people that are involved in the actual vaccine distribution here, but we were just going through this. As of the end of the year, we will have over 100 million doses manufactured. The people who are in the prioritized list of including high risk, including first responders, will have the ability to take the vaccine. No one's being mandated to be vaccinated at the latest in January. And as we said yesterday, or I think yesterday, there will be hundreds of millions of doses delivered for people to take it during the first quarter. And so that by April, every single American who wants to be vaccinated will have the ability to be vaccinated. It's not a forced vaccination, of course.
Dr. Fauci said today, basically echoed Dr. Redfield's comments that Q2, Q3, some point the summer of next year, the entire country potentially, or at least as many Americans that need to be vaccinated, will be vaccinated. Is that the timeline?
We think we will.
Next summer?
Yeah, that's on the outer edge. We think we can beat that number very substantially.
And on TikTok, sir, if you don't mind, the Commerce Department essentially gave you a runway today to strike a deal after the election. Do you expect a TikTok deal before the election or after the election?
I think it could go quickly. We have great companies talking to us about it. You know about Oracle. You know Microsoft has been involved, and let's see whether or not they're continuing to be involved. Walmart is truly a great company. They're very much involved. They want to do something. So we have some great options, and maybe we can keep a lot of people happy, but have the security that we need. We have to have the total security from China. We're not going to do anything to jeopardize security. At the same time, it's an amazing company and very, very popular. So if we can do a combination of both, I'd be very happy doing that. Could go very quickly, though. Could go very, very fast. Yeah, please.
Mr. President.
Go ahead, please. OAN.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Kuwait, so the Kuwaiti ambassador to Austria this week told the IAEA that the Kuwaiti government is very concerned over Iran's constant breaching of the JCPOA. In your discussions with the Kuwaitis today, have you discussed where they stand this week as we go into the UN, as the United States tries to extend sanctions on Iran?
Well, they just left my office, as you know, the Oval Office, and we had a very good meeting with the Emir, and I think we understand each other very well. They're very excited about a lot of things that are happening in the Middle East. They are so excited that we signed the first 2 countries, and I think they'll end up fairly quickly being a part of it. I have, I would say, 7 or 8 countries that want to be a part of it without even working very easily, very quickly. Nobody thought this would happen, and not only is it happening, it's happening rather easily. We discussed that very briefly because that's an easy one. Believe it or not, that whole thing is now a beautiful puzzle that's coming together very nicely. But we are talking to them and others about various aspects of the Middle East. The Middle East is straightening out with all that's happening. You know, we've brought a lot of our troops back. A lot of them are coming back in the very near future. We're out of Syria, other than we kept the oil. I kept the oil. And we have troops guarding the oil. Other than that, we're out of Syria. We took them off the border between Syria and Turkey. We had a lot of troops on the border. Ultimately, we got it down to 50, and I thought they were in great danger. When you have 2 armies sitting there looking to fight, and you have 50 people in the middle, I don't care who you are, even if you're the U.S., those 50 people are in great danger. We took them out. But we had a lot of troops on the border, and we took them out. I said, look, they've been fighting on their border for 200 years, and a lot longer than that under different names, and they can continue to do that. That's not for us. We're guarding our own borders. We're doing very well on our southern border, as an example. So we're out of Syria, except we kept the oil, and we'll make a determination. We'll probably be dealing with the Kurds on the oil and see what it all ends up, but we'll be out. And very importantly, we're down to very few soldiers in Iraq, and we'll be down very shortly over the next couple of weeks to 4,000, less than 4,000 in Afghanistan. And then we'll make that final determination a little bit later on. We're dealing very well with the Taliban. They're very tough, they're very smart, they're very sharp. But, you know, it's been 19 years, and even they are tired of fighting, in all fairness. And we really served as a police force, because if we wanted to do what we had to do, we would have fought a lot differently than they have over the 19 years. They didn't fight it properly. They were police, okay? They're not police, they're soldiers. So there's a difference. The police, nobody has more respect for police than I do, but they have to do their own policing. So we're having some very good discussions with the Taliban, as you probably heard. It's been public. And but we'll be down to, very shortly, we'll be down to less than 4,000 soldiers. And so we'll be out of there, knowing that certain things have to happen, certain things have to be fulfilled. But 19 years is a long time, 8,000 miles away. 19 years is a long time. And the Middle East, the whole Middle East equation, if you look at what's happened, if you've looked at the stupidity of decisions that were made, including the deal that was made, I mean, take a look at what happened with Iran. Had that deal stayed, had I not broken that deal, you could have never done the deal that I'm doing now, where all the countries are pouring in. And I had 2 calls this morning with countries that want to know, when can we go into the deal? They want to go. It's not that we're giving anything. They want security. They want peace. And they're really tired of fighting. It's incredible. They're tired of fighting. They've been fighting for so many years. They're tired of fighting. Thank you very much.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Mr. President, a question on the vaccine, but first on Puerto Rico. I heard you many times over the past couple of years saying that Puerto Rico got too much money. I mean, just last year you said Puerto Rico is one of the most corrupt places on earth.
Well,
You talked
that's
about
true.
how Congress
That's
had sent
true.
too
They
much
have
money.
John,
But you said never again. You said Congress gave too much money to Puerto Rico. Why now are
Because
you...
we're building it up as a great medical, pharmaceutical manufacturing area where, you know, we're going to be taking back a lot of the business that we let go for years. And we're going to bring it back. They were very good at it. They did a fantastic job, but they destroyed it with their tax policy. They made it impossible for people to stay, so people went to China mostly and to other countries. Puerto Rico has been very corrupt in terms of its politicians. You see that. They're one after another. It's been unbelievably corrupt. And we're studying that and working on that. And we think we have a good group of people who are working very well with the politicians right now. But I think more exciting than the dollars, and you have to do something with respect to their grid. Their grid is a disaster. Their generators are wiped out, and they've been wiped out for years, long before Maria came. They've been wiped out for years. So if we can build Puerto Rico back into a pharmaceutical manufacturing area, we're going to designate it as such. I think it'll be unbelievable for Puerto Rico, unbelievable for the people of Puerto Rico, and we can make it very successful.
In a larger question on the vaccine and on other issues regarding the experts in your government, last night you criticized what Christopher Wray told Congress, your FBI director. You obviously said that the CDC director was flat wrong on a couple of things this week. How is it that you don't trust your own experts? Do you think you know better
Not all
than
of
they
them.
do?
No, I think I have. Yeah, in many cases I do. I think we have a bigger problem with China than we have with Russia. I think China is a far bigger problem. And I said, well, that's okay if you want to think about Russia, but what about China? I think that's appropriate. I thought that the definition of Antifa was an absolutely incorrect definition, so I speak up. I like to speak up. I have fantastic people. That's why we're able to make these great trade deals. That's why we're able to do things like we're doing today. That's why the country has done so well. The country's done numbers like nobody. Had we not had the China plague come in, if that virus didn't come in, the plague, I call it, the plague from China didn't come in, the numbers we had were not only record-setting, they were beyond anything anyone's ever seen in any country, frankly. Now, we closed it up, and now we're opening it up. And by the way, the Democrats ought to open up their states, and they ought to open them up fast, John. The faster the better, because they're hurting their people. A lot of damage done with these extended shutdowns. But we saved millions of lives by doing it the way we did it. And now we're opening it up, and you see the kind of numbers, the manufacturing numbers, see the retail numbers, you look at the employment numbers. They're setting records. It's an incredible thing that's happening. Had the plague not come in, we would have been right now at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody's ever seen. But even before, it was at the highest stock market, best unemployment numbers and employment numbers. We're up to 160 million people, just short of 160 million people employed. We were never close to a number like that. And now we're doing it again. And next year, we will have a great economic year. I think one of our best. Yeah.
What Ray said about white supremacists, did you?
The Postal Service had planned on sending 650 million face masks to Americans back in April. That never happened. Why not? And was it because
I don't know. I don't run it, to be honest. That's run, as you know, that's run by a commission, and they run it. I think, frankly, if they would raise the price of packaging, you'd end up making a lot of money or breaking even or doing something. The post office has been a mess for many, many generations, but for certainly decades, and it loses a lot of money. It's always lost a lot of money. And one of the reasons it loses a lot of money now is that it's delivering all these packages, and every time they deliver a package, they lose $3 a package or whatever the number may be. So I would suggest that they raise the price of packages, and you might get something where it loses very little, or maybe broke even, or maybe even made some money. Can you imagine a thing like that? And whether it's Amazon or any of the other internet delivery services, if you did that, you'd have a whole different post office. So hopefully they'll be doing that. In the meantime, I know so many people in the postal system, and I've known them over the years. They're incredible people. And they're very secure. They're going to be very secure. You know, the problem they have with the ballots, not the post office, the problem they have with the ballots is the people sending the ballots and the people counting the ballots. And who are they sending them to? Where are they being sent? Are they being sent to the wrong areas? Are they not being sent at all? There'll be tremendous corruption if they don't do something about it. Now, one big hope is that we're in front of numerous federal judges in Nevada. We're in front in Pennsylvania, as you know. We're in front in Michigan. We have numerous court cases out there that are very well advanced, and you'll start seeing decisions, just like we won the case on opening up Pennsylvania. That was a great decision by a judge that came down 2 days ago, and that was a very important decision. So, but we have a lot of very important decisions coming down on this, on the scam of unsolicited ballots, where they're sending out tens of millions of ballots to everybody, people that didn't expect them. People are getting inundated with ballots. They'll be showered with ballots. Everybody in this room knows it's a scam. Okay? Everybody in this room, even John. Don't say it, John, because it's a scam. Sending ballots at a level they are never going to be able to count them. Let me ask you.
Your officials vote by mail, sir? People in the White House vote by mail. Are they part of the scam?
But that's different. That's called solicited. When you solicit, when you go out, it's called absentee or solicit. When you go out and you request a ballot, you want to say, I want to vote because I can't be in Florida or I can't be someplace. You request. So you're sending something in. It's handled professionally. They send it back. It's a whole thing. That's much different than unsolicited. When you get millions of ballots, I heard numbers like 80 million ballots. Now, just this week, they had another one of the disasters that took place, an election. But look at what happened in New Jersey, and they had another one in New Jersey, very, very bad, different than Patterson. Look at what happened in New York with Carolyn, your Congressman, Murphy, Maloney, Carolyn Maloney. Look at that. I mean, look at that race. Carolyn Maloney had a race. It was a disaster. Ballots are missing. Ballots are fraud. These are small races. Look at what happened in Virginia. Look at what happened at various other parts of the country, even over the last short period of time. And these aren't 80 million or 50 million or 20 million votes. These are small elections. These are congressional elections where, in theory, it's easy. So what's going to happen on November 3rd when somebody's leading and they said, well, we haven't counted the ballots. We have millions of ballots to count. It's a disaster. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it's a disaster. And I don't expect people here to say, although some people will. Some people would say it. Everyone knows. You don't even have to know politics to know. And this has nothing to do with post office, by the way. Where are these ballots going? Who's sending them? Who's signing them? You have in Nevada, you have a governor that signs something where he doesn't even want verification of the signature. So what does that mean? So he doesn't even want verification of the signature. So I think it's going to be a terrible time for this country, and we're counting on federal judges to do a great constitutional job when they're right now analyzing it. Many federal judges, like I think 5 or 6, but many federal judges, I can tell you, in Pennsylvania, big, in Nevada, very big. I believe it's in front of a judge in Michigan. We have a lot of judges have not yet ruled on this, but if it's ruled in a different manner, or it's ruled where these millions and millions of unsolicited people that aren't even asking, there's such a difference. You write in, you ask, they send it to you, you sign it, you send it back, that's perfect. That's absentee. There's nothing like going to the voter booth, by the way, nothing, where they check you as you go in. There's nothing like that. But that's absentee, that's okay. But the scam of sending millions and millions of ballots, and you know who knows this better than I do? The Democrats. They know it's going to be a mess. They know there are going to be millions of missing ballots, or tremendous numbers of missing ballots. You could be talking about large percentages of these ballots are going to be missing. There's going to be fraud. It's a disaster. And it'll be a lot easier for me not to bring it up, but everybody knows I'm right. And you don't have to know a lot about elections. You don't have to know a lot about politics. This is going to be the scam of all time. And hopefully the federal judges, all respected, all highly respected, hopefully they'll be able to see this clearly and stop it. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. So I want to congratulate Puerto Rico, and I think you're going to have a great period of time. I think you're going to see a rebuilding of Puerto Rico. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Is it still a scam if you win, sir?
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us here at Golden State Times and choosing us as your stream of choice. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and you share it on social media. Let us know what you guys think about this press conference, everything that President Trump said. Let us know and sound off in the comments. Leave us your questions, your comments, your suggestions, your thoughts, everything in the comments section below. If you're new to the channel, we encourage you to subscribe and click that notification bell. If you just subscribed right now or a few moments ago or yesterday, welcome to the family and welcome to the underground. Because we are not the mainstream media. We don't want to be the mainstream media. We are not even the mainstream media's friends. We and the mainstream media, we meaning us here at Golden State Times, and the mainstream media are not on the same team. As you guys can see through these press conferences and press briefings, they want to make sure that President Trump looks at the worst way possible, bad at every single thing. And what we want to do here at Golden State Times is show you the truth, what President Trump says for himself. We want President Trump to speak for himself. We don't speak for him. Nobody speaks for him. He speaks for himself. So that is what we do here at Golden State Times. We show you raw footage of everything that is going on at the White House, Congress, and everything else in politics. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Gold State Times and you subscribe and you click that bell. President Trump has a rally later on today, so make sure you guys join us live here at Golden State Times.